Playing a dirty trick on me.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. Next up, we have Auto Parts for Less Group, Inc. It trades on the OTCQB under the symbol FLES. And its mission is to create a world-class enterprise-level marketplace that aggregates the automotive parts sellers for the automotive parts buyers by utilizing integrated technologies that optimizes the listing, selling, and shipping of automotive parts. A seamless digital experience that creates value for the entire automotive parts industry. Please welcome its CEO, Tim Arms. Welcome, Tim.
Thank you, Anna.
All right, whenever you're ready.
Okay. First, thank everybody for tuning in. And my name's Tim Arms. I'm president of Auto Parts for Less Group. And what we are is a marketplace for auto parts. And that's basically everything automotive. So as said, we've been trading on the OTCQB under the symbol FLES. So first, let me jump in some of our history. The company was started by a gentleman by the name of Chris Davenport back in 2015. And what he was doing is selling lift kits on eBay and Amazon under his garage under the name liftkitsforless.com. In 2018, November of 2018, we did a reverse merger with him. The company was Med Careers Group. And in February 2021, we uplisted to the OTCQB. So in 2019, at the time, we had a lot of different URLs that had bumpersforless.com, truckcoversforless.com, but we aggregated it all by buying the name autopartsforless.com. And at the time, Auto Parts has been a laggard as far as e-commerce is concerned. And so it's taken it a while, but what we saw was an opportunity that everybody in the space was e-commerce site. There was no, besides Amazon or eBay, there was no marketplace. And so we felt like it was a huge business growing in the e-commerce side. And so we began development in early 2020 to start the build the marketplace. So with just lift kits from 2018 to last year, January, our year end, January 31st, 2022, we did about $39 million in sales. And all of our sales were basically accessories, meaning you buy a truck or a Jeep and you want to, put bigger tires on it. You want it to lift it up. If you want to go off-road, you want to do a roll bar, LED lightings, anything that you wanted to, kind of bring in after you've already bought the truck, just to customize it, to what you like. And what we found is that, and kind of back up a minute, if you look at our stock today, our stock, our valuation of our company's right at $9 million. And all of that is based off of what you see here. It was lift kits for less, because that's where all of our sales has been. And what we're doing now is like going into something that's, humongous comparatively to what we were at. Lift kits for less at any one time had 40,000 to 60,000 parts. We presently will be launching, well, you can go to our site, we're live today, but we'll have over 1 million parts on our site when we really start our first advertising campaign. So it's just a huge, huge change, a major transformation in the business, what we've done for not only our company, but also for our investors, as well as we think the industry. And when you look at the auto parts industry, we are entering to it as the first pure play marketplace. It's a $439 billion aftermarket, basically parts. And then you can see from the slide, it's not only car and truck parts, but it's motorcycle parts, boats, commercial trucks, tools, other parts. Again, everything that's having to do with automotive, we'll be selling it on autopartsforless.com. So as Anna stated earlier, what are we really doing? It's really very simple. pretty much everybody in the industry now has an e-commerce site, whether they're a manufacturer, warehouse distributor, auto dealership, national chains, all your parts retailers. They're all looking to sell parts online. And so, as a buyer, I've got to go look at all over the place. It's just spread out. You can even buy parts on eBay or Amazon as well. But what we've done is very simple, is aggregating the entire industry. Our goal, where we expect 2 to 3 years, we could have well over 100 million parts available on our site, again, for anything that's automotive. So our mission is pretty simple. Let's aggregate the industry, all the e-commerce sites onto one marketplace, and do it, with a real enterprise level marketplace that, is basically an aggregator of all of these sellers. And what we are called is an enterprise level marketplace. That being because we have multiple sellers on the site, and it's to bring the sellers and the buyers together. And hopefully, we believe most of the parts will have more than one seller, which gives the buyer the comfort that they're getting the best deal available. When you look at the auto parts market from an e-commerce standpoint, it's been growing at about a 20% annual rate. 2022 projections in the e-commerce section, just online sales, be about 38 billion. Within the next 7 years, by 2030, that should be 67 billion sales. And of course, that's in a big market value. And that really doesn't even include the motorcycle parts, camper parts, boating, power sports, and what have you. And what we are, from a technical, and there's lots of information written on it. And you can go out there and just Google marketplace, and you can read all types of information. But, as an enterprise level marketplace, it's a highly scalable platform business model. And when they talk about scalable, that means you can drive your revenue up, but your cost barely, there's no cost of sales. So you're really just your overhead, and that overhead grows at a much lower level than what your sales can take off to. So studies show that 7 of the world's 12 largest corporations are platform businesses. When a platform enters a traditional product market, the platform virtually always wins. Global VCs invested $28 billion in marketplace startups in 2021. And the first mover advantage is what we have, or we call it the winner take most market dynamics. And again, we are going from selling 40 to 60,000 parts for accessories for Jeeps and trucks to something that will touch about everything automotive, with the potential of 100 million parts. We believe in a not too distant future, 2 to 3, 4 years. So who can sell parts on auto parts for less? Well, basically everyone that's selling online today. In the auto parts industry, there's no go-to brand that has captured a large share of the market. You've got plenty of brick and mortar retailers, AutoZone, O'Reilly's, Auto Plus, Napa, Advanced Auto Parts, parts manufacturers who now most of them have a e-commerce presence, are available to sell on our site. Some e-commerce sellers you might have heard of: Rockauto, Parts Geek, Parts Market, this used cars, or carparts.com, and even new car dealerships. There's about $3 billion of parts inventory sitting on new car dealers' shelves. So we're going to give them the ability that they can, start selling parts on our site. And so that would give them the ability to possibly turn their product, their auto parts, over 3 or 4 times, when today they're just waiting for those someone to come in and get their car fixed, and then they pull the parts off the shelves. So again, everybody out there who is selling parts really has the opportunity to sell on our site. It's a very simple business model. how we make our money is by charging a 10% marketplace fee on each sell. We'll have a lot of other advertising, banner ads, a lot of other little things that will generate revenue off of as well. But the primary source is a 10% marketplace fee. The fee is charged at checkout. So as someone buys it, we get our 10% in the bank. The seller gets their money. And so we have very little AR to deal with, accounts receivable. Three major expense categories: the general, administrative, and overhead, meaning mostly sales, support people, accounting, things of that nature. And then we have our server operations, site development, and support. And we'll probably have 5 in-house, and then we use a third party called e-commerce to handle most of our development. And then the biggest cost would be advertising and branding. Our one goal after it's up is to make sure everybody's aware of us and come to our site for the best buying experience, e-commerce buying experience for auto parts. And some of the things that we do not have, that as an e-commerce company you do have, is fulfillment and shipping cost. The seller does the fulfillment and the shipping. We don't have a warehouse. We don't have inventory expenses. We don't manage the return. That's all done by the sellers. So very simple. We just take a slice of the sale, put it in the bank, and move on. So, and to kind of highlight that, the difference between an e-commerce site and a marketplace, what I'm going to do is just kind of show you the difference between a NASDAQ traded carparts.com, which is a purely e-commerce site for car parts, and then what our marketplace looks like. So today, we pull this, they're publicly traded on the NASDAQ, and that's where we got most of the information, or all of the information for them. But SKUs available is 731,000 SKUs. Presently, we're not launched yet, but we have 650,000 parts. We'll have by the middle of next week, probably in the close to 1.5 to 2 million. And we believe within the year, we'll have over 25 million parts. And these are all multiple sellers for these SKUs. And again, as car parts, they're the single seller. And employee-wise, car parts today has about over 1,500 employees. Presently, we have 10 employees, and we'll go up to 50 employees by the end of the first year. We've got a lot of people sitting on the sidelines that we'll be bringing on shortly. Car Parts has 5 warehouse locations. We have 0 warehouses because it's the sellers that are responsible for the shipping and returns. Inventory, they hold about $138 million worth of inventory. We hold no inventory whatsoever. From a revenue standpoint, we took Car Parts last year's top line revenue, which was $582 million, again on roughly 700 plus a little over 700,000 parts. If we do a fee, just a straight 10% fee, we would generate $58 million in fees. Cost of goods, 295 million, we have 0 freight and shipping. They had over 89 million. We've got 0 shipping costs. They spent 69 million on advertising. That included sales, salaries, and overhead. We put down 54 million, but what we're thinking is probably going to be closer to the 10 to 15 million dollar range. We may go up to 20 million. And if you look at that, if we decreased our advertising by 20 million, that would, raise our bottom line pre-tax by $20 million. Operating expenses was 137 million. We expect ours to be somewhere in the 4 million range because we're going to have about 50 employees and, just office overhead and a lot of remote, I'm sure, people working for us. So carparts.com had a $9 million loss. We would do a 244,000 income. But again, if we knocked off $30 million off of our advertising, which we could do, we believe. That goes straight to the bottom line. Again, so you can see from an e-commerce side, it's there's a lot more to an e-commerce side and a lot more expensive than it is just being a marketplace. And that's why marketplaces, are your major unicorns out in the market today. And it's just a very simple process, but it really fulfills a real place in the market. So the big thing in a marketplace is it's called the chicken or the egg. First I need sellers and then I need buyers. And so the sellers are always asking, well, how many people coming to your site to buy? Well, in the beginning, I don't have anything. Okay, well, I'll wait until you get somebody or you start actually selling. So that's really the hardest part. It costs a lot of money to really get you up. What's unique about the auto parts industry, the auto parts, a typical seller could have well over 200,000 parts. So there are companies out there, and two of the major ones are Sure Done and Channel Advisor. And they have a software integration where they'll take your inventory, doesn't matter if it's clothes, dresses, whatever, but their biggest sellers are auto parts sellers. And can feed their inventory into their technology, and then it'll spit out those parts onto eBay or Amazon. And now we've just finished the integration with both of those. So together, Sure Done and Channel Advisor has over 400 sellers and probably represent 100 million parts. And so it takes about we're already integrated with them. So, there's a little time setting each client up, but that's how we're going to be able to get parts on so fast. Today we had, as we started loading, we were just under 700,000. So we're almost already where car parts is. We have one seller with 800,000 parts that's coming on. All their parts are OEM or replacement parts, which is the parts you want in today's market. When people are keeping their car longer, the parts they're going to do so, they're going to need to fix their car. And I don't care if it's inflation or downturn, you've got to get your car back on the road, to get to work. So parts actually sales do pretty well, stay above inflation pretty much, especially in a market like this. Some of the retailers, stores like AutoZone, I think their store over store this year was up 6.2%. So car parts, auto parts as a whole, from a retail standpoint, isn't affected so much by a downturn or high inflation. So we're integrated with them all, and they allow us to list, update, add, delete millions of parts at a time, and it allows us to get a lot of parts on quick and not very expensive to do so. So we've already got our branding team, Hedges & Company, which started around 2004. They're a partner agency. They're going to be handling all of our SEO. They've been working totally in the automotive industry, parts industry. So they really know the ins and outs and how to get you the right SEO, how to build your pages, how to get your pages indexed. And one of the nice things is if we have 15 million parts, each part has a page and each part's going to be indexed. So you get a lot of SEO out into the Googles of the world. Digital Ignite, they are a real high-tech agency. Their strategies are more in programmatic IP targeting. It's kind of amazing what they can do. They can find out if you're sitting at a NASCAR race when everybody's using their phone, they can instantly be able to buy ads on the go and be able to put, auto parts for less ad on their phones while they're sitting in the NASCAR. So they're going to be doing a lot of our industry as well. One of the nice things is advertising as well. They're going to be doing, they've taken half their pay in stock. We've got a $1.2 million annual advertising budget with them, about $100,000 a month. which they're going to take all of it for the first few months, willing to do it in stock at the current price when they mail us the invoice. So nothing discounted. So, but they believe in what they can do. And I think that shows they believe in what we can do as well. So also the big thing is, because the database is so big in this industry, you really have to have a great database. Our technology, we built it from the ground up. We use a web AWS called Fargate, which allows you to use server space as you need it. It's all coded in-house through e-commerce pundit, and all those guys are still on board, and they allowed us to build this relatively cheap compared to what if we had to use all of the programming here in the States. So, and it's a crucial differentiator. You literally have to have a massive server capability to handle millions of transactions. It's just not the sales transactions. It's updating parts. It's taking down parts. It's changing prices. There's just all type of maintenance that is going on behind just the buyers and the sellers. So our development team, Las Vegas, Atlanta, and over in India. And then kind of get to the end. So if you look at a marketplace and you look at, for example, Airbnb, in 10% of the time and 2 to 5% of the staff owning no properties, Airbnb has a greater valuation than all of these major hotel chains combined. And that includes Hyatt, Marriott, Intercontinental. So if you just took the valuation of all of them in a very short period of time, Airbnb, a marketplace in the lodging industry has a greater valuation. In the grocery market, you might have heard of a marketplace called Instacart. Instacart's total valuation is bigger than any of the major grocery stores at this time. And if you, again, kind of going back, Instacart had to go out and find stores. They had to go find buyers that would go to the stores and buy the groceries. And then they had to have individuals download the app and then, make a purchase or hire the Instacart buyer to go get it. So a whole lot of work. And in their second year of raising money, they had a $2 billion valuation. They raised $300 million. So you can see as these things take off, just a valuation of the marketplace because of the cost structure, that platform model. So where we're at is the marketplace for the disruption of auto parts. Can we, within 5% of the time and fewer than 1% of the staff, and no stores, can Auto Parts for Less marketplace to develop a larger valuation than today's auto parts retail stores? So if you look at us with all the parts that we have, AutoZone is sitting at $43 billion, O'Reilly's at $45 billion, $12 billion for Advance, Napa $21 billion. These are just some of the major stores that are out there. And by the way, these stores can sell on our site as well. We have a product coming out of service called Will Call, and where you can find the part, and if it's local, you can set up a time to go and actually pick up the part if you need it immediately, to get your car back on the road. So we believe, we've got a great opportunity before us. We've got, we think the best business model. And again, for us, this is a transformative business that we're launching. Again, you can go there today. You can actually buy parts. We are waiting till we really start advertising, promoting until we get over 1 million parts, which we will believe sometime next week. So sometime before November, we will really start kicking off our advertising. But again, we're available for to buy our stock on OTCQB under the name FLES. Again, today we've got about just under 1.8 million shares. outstanding. We are uplisting to the NASDAQ. We expect that transaction to happen sometime in first to middle of November. And when that does, as a retail investor, if you can come to our website, you can also look at the contact. If you want to contact us, we can get you in touch with the broker. It's Maxim, who will be heading up the syndicate to take us up to the NASDAQ. We're hoping to raise about $20 million in doing so. But we think it's a great opportunity because it'll be just at the beginning of launching auto parts. And we think we've got a real monster on our hand. And we think it's a great business model, and we think it's going to do real good. So we're really excited about it, and a lot of people who have looked at it is pretty excited about it as well. So anyway, so I guess we'll open it up to questions now. Anna, you ready to take some questions?
We've got lots of questions for you, Tim. Starting with Eric Hyde, he asks, how are you different from Rockauto.com?
Okay, again, Rockauto is an e-commerce site. So they sell a lot of parts, but they're a single seller. Rockauto can come onto our marketplace and sell parts. And we hope they will.
Okay.
And there's not one e-commerce site that doesn't sell on either an eBay or an Amazon as well. We're a pure play. There's a lot more that we're doing for the seller. We're just not trying to cram everything onto one platform. And, you know, no matter if you're buying whatever, you know, car parts is totally different. And we think we've got a marketplace that really addresses all the needs of the buyer and the seller.
Great. And how much do you earn from shipping?
We don't ship. Remember, we're a marketplace, and that's the beauty of it. We have no shipping cost, and we don't earn anything from shipping. Whoever sells it is going to ship it.
Great. Well,
and
thank you for clarifying.
Because the shipping costs will, in most cases, if you look at an e-commerce site, and being one with lift kits for less, that shipping eats away your margin really, really quick. So, you know, our responsibility ends when the seller, you know, finds a buyer for our part. They buy it, we take our 10%, and the seller has to ship it, and also have to take a return and pay for whatever return costs there are. We just set the rules of the marketplace, and the seller has to abide by it. And we also we're going to let the buyers, you know, do a rating and review of the sellers. And if they're competing against other sellers, the ones with the greater reviews and fewest complaints, obviously will win the buy box.
Great, great. And some of these questions might be reiterating or clarifying your process here. Mike J wants to understand better. Vendors list their parts on your site. Is there a listing fee or a percentage you receive when a product sells? And how many revenue verticals are there on your site?
Well, first of all, there is no listing fee.
Okay.
So any part seller, they come in, they open up an account. We make sure they're a real seller, go through a little background, and then they can start uploading their parts. We can onboard it, or a lot of the bigger parts are coming in through Sure Done as well as Channel Advisor. And again, together they have over 400 sellers, which represent over 100 million parts. So for right now, the vertical is going to be our 10% fee, but we'll start opening up, you know, advertising, banner ads. There's going to be a price for our will call window. If you've got a store and you want it to be able to let someone know they can come pick it up. There's some programming that we have to do, so that'll probably be a monthly fee. We're going to be initiating a buy it with installation in place. So there's a group which will bring a lot of value to the sellers. So knowing that when they sell something, that buyer can also, if they're not a do-it-yourselfer, they can also, at that point, purchase the installation with a local, you know, contractor.
Great. Thank you for clarifying that. And Jim Kane wants to know, many manufacturers have requirements for MSRP, which pertains to the minimum that their dealers can sell for their products.
Right.
Are the manufacturers going to start selling parts on your site? And if so, will that create a conflict with other vendors?
They can start and they will start selling, but you're right. There is a MRP that they cannot undercut, their own contracts, because when they sell it, they're obligated, where they just can't start putting their products on the market to beat what they're selling it to their distributors for. So They do have to maintain a minimal amount, the same as what they would expect their sellers to sell for.
Nick Townsend says reviews for both product and seller are very important for consumers. Do you currently have this in place for both the sellers and products?
We have it for the sellers in place. And you can go to our website right now, autopartsforless.com, and see, and you can actually buy something.
Great.
We're just not officially launched as of yet.
Heidi says users are everything. What will you have to spend to acquire a customer, and what will that customer bring to you in fees?
Okay. When you're talking about a customer, you're talking about a buyer
Yes.
or a seller?
Well, in this question, she started with users are everything. So I guess it would be a buyer, a new customer. Who are you? Talk about maybe both.
Right. Okay. So the sellers, they're the most important. You've got to get the sellers on before you can start generating any revenue. And again, we're fortunate because in this industry, we've already, you get a list of part sellers. And so we've got that. But again, just using two contacts with SureDone and Channel Advisor, they've got 400 sellers that represent over 100 million parts. One of the first ones that we're bringing on actually should be loaded up all the first part of next week, has over 800,000 parts. We have one of the largest tire and wheel dealers in the U.S. that has committed to come on. We've got brake specialists. So we've got, and some big names are part of those as well. And the thing about a platform is that the more it has what's called a flywheel effect. The more you get, the more you get. So the more sellers you start bringing on, other sellers will look at it and go, hey, it doesn't cost me anything. I can get on there and sell as well. And the more information and the more advertising, more promotion, more branding we do, the faster they'll come. We actually had a car. We're going to have one this week in the Xfinity race in Las Vegas. So we have a car, number 13 car, dressed up as Auto Parts for Less. So we've done some truck races, and we'll be doing, that's a branding thing, but a lot of SEO. A lot of people search for parts via a part number. And so that's one of the things that's SEO'd. And again, the more parts you have, the more SEO you get, because the more indexing that you're able to do. So
got it. We've got a question from Eric Hyde. Would you consider yourself a drop shipping business, or is there ever a time where you hold inventory?
No, we are not a drop shipping business. Sellers are drop shippers. Again, we just built the infrastructure to allow any type of auto parts seller, e-commerce seller, to come on our site and start selling. They do the shipping. We don't touch the shipping. We don't plan as autopartsforless.com to own any products at this point. So we won't have a warehouse. And we've got enough sellers that have warehouses. Again, we're talking to some nationwide distributors who've got, 5, 7, 10 warehouses located across the country. And, there's a lot of the drop shippers are a lot of people, individuals that start a company and get started. So they're the ones who, find the distributor, put a contract together, because that's what we did as Lift Kits for Less. And then we sell a product. Then we notify the manufacturer, who then drop ships it to them. But that's not us. We make the connection between the seller and buyer and take our fee from it. And we're done.
Got it. Ben Farmer wants to know, is there a resale or used market in your revenue verticals?
There will be. We are very much interested in doing something on the side. It's a little different business, so we are getting this up first. But as we are uplisted to NASDAQ, there's potential for acquisitions and things of that nature. So, but yeah, there's very much a used part market that is pretty big out there that we would like to tap into at some point.
Great. Lenny Stewart says, the stock you are using for the marketing, is that an S8 stock, free trading, or is it Treasury restricted stock expensed at current prices?
It's a restricted stock.
Okay. And Joshua Rowley wants to know if you can say the names of the seller with 800,000 parts, or is it under an NDA?
I probably could. They're out of Florida, but just because I'm not throwing out any names right now, I'd rather hold it back. But
okay.
Anyway.
And also, Josh was asking, are you confirming the NASDAQ uplist is happening with your last statement of it being in November, or is that still tentative pending approvals?
Well, we're moving forward like it's ready to go. We're in where the market is. It's up, it's down. But the thing is, we think we're a great retailer. I mean, typically where we're at, we would have probably had $50 million invested in by venture capitalists, if not more money. And that's if you look at the major marketplaces out there, because we came up from the pink sheets into the over the counter, we're really, totally different than almost any marketplace that's come to market out there. So we really, give a great opportunity for, your retail stock purchaser to go, to participate in this. Usually it's going to be all the institutions, the VC get all the money, all the upside, if you will, because they come in at a low level, then they, sell it. And when they're going to sell it at a premium pretty much. So again, you look at our stock, we've got presently, under 2 million shares outstanding, and we're only $9 million. I mean, you couldn't rebuild this thing for $9 million, but it's all what it reflects is lift kits for less. And, we've lost money, selling, we made money, but it's a tough business. And it's nothing like the business that we're going into. It's Lift Kits is a e-commerce site. We shipped, we took it, back exchanges. We dealt with, products that, couldn't get delivered because of over the pandemic and what have you. And, so we're moving to this massive, 40 to, we had, maybe 60,000 parts is our high. And, we're moving to something that, first week out of the gate, we'll have, probably a million and well over a million, hopefully 1.5 million to 2 million. And that's even at 2 million, we're twice the size, almost 3 times the size as carparts.com, which, as we showed you, did 580 million. And our parts will be OEM, which would be pretty much, the same thing, which are replacement parts. When your car breaks down, you need your part. And we expect to have that.
Great. Well, Tim, we are out of time, but we do have lots more questions for you. So we're going to send you these questions in an email so you can answer them at your own time. But thank you so much for joining us. Fascinating stuff here, and we can't wait to have you back with some updates.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate everybody and appreciate your questions.
Great. Thank you, Tim. Okay, everyone, stay with us. We'll be right back with our next presenter.